What is up, guys? Flashfire here, and today I am bringing you the first week of the playoffs of the PFC Season 2. This is the Hampshire Hawluchas versus the Bouffalant Bills, or McCaddy, whose channel will be linked down below if you guys want to go and check him out. I'm sure he would very much appreciate your support. He is a great YouTuber and a great battler, so you should absolutely go and check him out. But, anyways, like I said, this is the first week of the playoffs of the PFC, so this is like the quarterfinals, I guess. There are 3 rounds. And we've matched up against the Bouffalant Bills, which is currently the strongest team in the competition. Will is currently 6-0, I believe, or 7-0, however many battles there were in the regular season. He has not lost a single game yet, and he has been, obviously, he's been playing fantastically. He also has a super scary draft. I'll just tell you what he has real quick right here, so you guys can appreciate how terrifying his draft is. Obviously, you can see on the screen, he's got some ridiculous mons out there. He has Mega Metagross, Clefable, Diggersby, Alakazam, Hydreigon, Fortress, Gligar, Spiritomb, Jellicent, Braviary, Skuntank, Primeape, Furret, and Politoed. Now that is a big long list because we have 14 mons per team in this competition, but the upshot of that is, Will has a terrifying draft. He could literally just bring the top 6 of his draft, which is what I was expecting. I was expecting to see Metagross, Clefable, Diggersby, Alakazam, Hydreigon, and Fortress. The only different thing that we had was he swapped out Fortress for Gligar. I've seen him in the past try to hazard stack with Fortress, and it's been gross. But the point is, Mega Metagross, one of the scariest mons to come up against in draft format, along with the Latties. So I have one of the Latties, he has Metagross, that's fine. That's fair and balanced. Like, but between us, we have 2 of the most broken mons in the format. Great. He also has some ridiculously threatening stuff on his team. The Clefable is such a huge problem for my team. Alakazam with a Sash is absolutely terrifying to any team. Diggersby, absolutely, like, just such a huge threat. Like, I would be happy taking the team I see on the screen on his side to an OU match. I would back myself quite easily. But, anyways, yeah. We're going to go over what we've brought this week, why we brought it, all that kind of stuff, just very briefly. The team that we've got, we have brought Life Orb Arcanine, with Extreme Speed, Flare Blitz, Close Combat, and Flamethrower. We also pack the Intimidate on there. This is an offensive Arcanine. Now, the reason that I went for Flamethrower over Morning Sun, and I'm upset that I did this, was because I was expecting the Fortress, and I wanted to be able to kill it without taking any recoil damage. Which is a silly, like, idea, but I feel like it could have paid off. I really think Morning Sun definitely would have been better, and you'll see later in the game, Morning Sun definitely would have been a better moveset choice for me. Then we went for just a 3 attacks Latios with Roost. I've EV'd it so that it outspeeds the Hydreigon, which is the fastest thing, outspeeds without Scarf. I figured I didn't want to deal with the speed tie versus the Metagross, so running slightly less than max speed, I'm fine with. If I know that I can never outspeed the Metagross, I'm never tempted to go for it and then put myself in a bad position because of it. So we have Shadow Ball, Dragon Pulse, Psychic on there. Dragon Pulse will always kill Hydreigon, fun fact. Psychic 3-hit KOs Clefable, Shadow Ball 2-hit KOs a lot of his stuff, so that's pretty cool. Then we have Choice Scarf Rotom, because I figured getting a Choice Scarf Willow-off could be huge. Getting a Choice Scarf Leaf Storm off against the Diggersby could be huge, because I'm expecting him to Ring Scarf Diggersby. And then we have the trick on there for a whole bunch of things. It can hit the Clefable, and it can hit the Gligar really nicely for me. Because obviously, getting rid of that Eviolite is huge, and scarfing the Clefable is huge, because he could be all kinds of, like, stored power shenanigans and want to make me cry. Then we have a Choice Band Scizor on here with the Defog. I figured there's a potential for him to bring the Fortress with all the hazards, so we brought the Defog on here. I didn't really have room for it on the Lati. I know Choice Band Defog isn't great. But we've got Pursuit, U-Turn, and Bullet Punch on here. Pursuit will KO Metagross from full. U-Turn is just great for putting pressure on my opponent's team. As you can see, nothing on his team really wants to take a banded U-Turn. And then Bullet Punch is just there, obviously, for the Clefable. And does great priority generally. It hits the Alakazam really nicely. It hits most of his team really nicely, actually. Almost Oko's Diggersby as well, which is pretty cool. And then we have the Lantern right here, which is basically we got the Heal Bell on there. We've got the Thunder Wave on there. And this is basically just here to sponge any special hits. It can sponge hits from the Hydreigon really nicely. It can sponge hits from the Alakazam really nicely. I was originally running Sucker Punch on here instead of Thunder Wave because it gets it, but I think it's an event move, so it wouldn't let me use it. But Sucker Punch from this thing actually does 50% to Alakazam, so I thought that could be pretty fun. Unfortunately, we didn't get to do that. And then finally, we have the Choice Scarf Gardevoir right here because I wanted a kind of stop-all answer to most of his team. We have the Scarf Destiny Bond on here. I figured it was likely that he wasn't going to bring Bullet Punch on Metagross because he needs all of the coverage to deal with my team. So Destiny Bond is on there because it is great. I can just let Gardevoir go down and kill something. Mainly Diggersby or Metagross are the things that I'm thinking of. Or even the Alakazam if it's still got the Sash intact. I'm not sure if Destiny Bond hits through the Sash, but that was my logic there. And then we just have Moonblast, Shadow Ball, Focus Blast for coverage on there. So, with all of those shenanigans out of the way, we are going to get to the battle now, guys. The bit you have all been waiting for. This is the Hampshire Hawluchas versus the Bouffalant Bills. So, I figured I would lead off with Sizzle right here. It deals a lot to most of his team. It deals really well with most of his team. It's a great pivot. I can put a lot of offensive pressure on him right here. I can pretty much U-turn off of anything or Bullet Punch the Clefable. So it's a pretty good time for me. I'm just going to lead off with the Sizzle as he leads off with the Diggersby. Now here, I think I'm pretty safe. Bullet Punch does a clean kind of 80% to this guy, so I figured he wouldn't want to stay in. And I can take any one hit from him. So I figured going for U-turn here was pretty safe. Unfortunately, this is something I didn't know. Diggersby gets Fire Punch. Learn something new every day. So we're going to take that Fire Punch right to the face and get dead right there. So we're just going to go into Arcanine right there. I'm assuming this guy's Scarf because we didn't see a Life Orb and it's highly unlikely that he's Choice Band. So we're just going to go for a Flare Blitz right here because I'm predicting him to switch out. Flare Blitz is my hardest hitting move. We're going to get some damage off on this Gliscor right here. Not really very much at all, but hey, some damage. So we're going to go into Lati right here, I believe, as he goes for a Roost. And I feel pretty safe in just going for a Psychic right here. I'm pretty sure it's a 2-hit KO. It does decent damage to the rest of his team, so we're just going to go for it. We will pick up a 3-hit KO on this Clefable. We deal a solid 46 right there. As we're just going to go for another one, he is going to softball, and right here, he, I believe, is going to pull a switch out into his Metagross to take the Psychic, which it does pretty well. We do land the crit, but it doesn't really matter at all, because he is still out of range of Shadow Ball. He makes a very good play here, scouting for the Shadow Ball, going into the Diggersby, and we're going to show the Shadow Ball to him, and he's going to be like, oh, cool, thanks. Now, right here, I do overpredict a little bit. I was kind of expecting him to go for an Earthquake, predicting my Arcanine to come back in. And as it turns out, he just goes straight... I'm dumb. I go into Arcanine again? What? I swear, I just had this battle, guys. Goes for the U-turn. And we're going to be back in this situation again. So I'm going to pull a hard switch into the Rotom this time, as he goes for a Toxic, I do believe. So... right here, I'm just going to trick in the Choice Scarf. I don't want him having no Eviolites ever. I do stay at an extra turn right here for some reason. I'm really not sure why. He does go for a Roost right here, though. So he's Scarfed into Roost, which is pretty good for me. Do stay at an extra turn and Will-O-Wisp him here. Probably not the best play. It does mean I take an extra 12% for no reason at all, really. But we're going to use this opportunity to go out into Lati, I do believe, and pick up a KO with a couple of Psychics. So that's a pretty good time. We're going to get rid of the Gliscor after he took out our Scizor on turn 1. We are going to get our revenge, kind of, and deal some damage to his team. So we are both down to 5 at this point, with me having a Toxic Rotom, and his Clefable being around 70%. So the Gliscor is going to go down right here, and he's going to get into Thug's Bunny, which this is the point where I overpredict, like I was saying earlier. I was expecting him to want to Earthquake right here, predicting my Arcanine switch. He doesn't. He goes for a U-turn, makes the right play, as I go for a Psychic, because it's my highest damage dealing move. He does go out into the Hydreigon right here. Now, I'm not playing around. I believe that the Diggersby is his only Scarfer. I also believe that if the Hydreigon turns out to be Scarfed, I pretty much lose this game anyway. So I decide to make the slightly risky play and stay in and go for a Dragon Pulse. We have already seen one Scarf, so I'm expecting that there won't be another. We're just going to go for Dragon Pulse right here. Like I said, that does kill every single time, and we're going to manage to take out the Hydreigon right there, which is fantastic. That thing is a huge threat. We do have Lantern to sponge hits from it, but obviously there's potential for him to run mixed sets and all this kind of shenanigans. So it was pretty spooky. But anyways, right here, like I said, this guy is not in range of Shadow Ball. We just about miss out on the KO right here, as we deal 71%. And he is going to pick me off with a Pursuit right here. Now... we're going to go straight into the Gardevoir right here because I know that a Moonblast will kill him and it does decent damage to the rest of his team. For those of you who say the crit mattered with the Psychic at the start, it didn't. Moonblast does about 20%, 25% to Mega Metagross, so We would have taken him out regardless of the psychic crit to start with. We're just going to go for that right now, make a safe play. Like I said at the start, I wasn't expecting him to run Bullet Punch, so I figured this would be a pretty good play to make. Now he's just going to go into Diggersby because he knows I can't KO him. I do about 70% with the Moonblast, and he knows he can KO me back. So what I'm going to do right here is just go into Rotom and sack it off. It really doesn't do anything to my opponent's team anymore, except act as death fodder. We're going to go down to the Toxic right here. Which doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter that I took the extra turn of toxic damage at the start because Diggersby outspeed, so he could have just gone for another one and taken me out. Wouldn't really have been a problem. I'd still would have gone down. So we're going to come in here and intimidate the Diggersby. Now, my thinking here is, okay, at this range, if I extreme speed him right here and he takes me out, then I can come in with Gardevoir and kill with Moonblast and have a great time. If I extreme speed and he switches into Alakazam, I 2-hit KO it, fantastic. If I extreme speed and he switches into Clefable, I 2-hit KO it, fantastic. Extreme speed is by far and away my best play right here. And unfortunately at this point, Showdown actually lagged out and DC'd. So this turn, I believe, Will clicked Clefable, then cancelled, clicked Alakazam. Showdown crashed, we started the game again. Well, no, Showdown didn't crash. Before Showdown crashed, the Clefable came in and I hit it with E-Speed. So I chose to take Will, I chose to believe that Will was telling the truth, because E-Speed plus Flare Blitz would have killed the Clefable. I could very well have just been like, no, do that. But I chose to let him switch into the Alakazam because that's what he wanted to do, so that's fine. We replayed up to this point, switched in the Alakazam right here, and I'm going to take it out with a double E-Speed. Now, what that means is that the Arcanine is a very low life total. And it is my best way to deal with the Clefable on my team. So, as he goes into the Diggersby right here to pick up the revenge kill, we are going to switch straight into the Lantern. Lantern is basically worthless. It'll take a hit from the Diggersby and Scald it back, but Scald doesn't kill. And Lantern basically is just like rubbing a wet paper towel on the Clefable. So, we're going to go into the Lantern right here. He's going to 2-hit KO us with the return. That crit didn't matter at all. I did go for a Volt Switch here in case he wanted to switch Clefable, but there was no real reason for him to. And then right here, I'm gonna come out with Gardevoir, because my thinking here is, okay, so here I actually click Destiny Bond, and my rationale behind that is, if Diggersby kills me, I figured I could win most of the time, because at this point I thought I still had Morning Sun on Arcanine. I don't. But in my head, I had Morning Sun on Arcanine. That being the case, this is actually a very bad play for me. My best play this turn was actually to Focus Blast. But because in my head, I had Morning Sun on Arcanine, I felt Destiny Bomb was the best play, because it got rid of the Diggersby 100% of the time. And then, if I did have Morning Sun on Arcanine, then Arcanine 1v1s the Clefable into Oblivion, and it's a great time. Unfortunately, he does switch in Clefable right here, as I Destiny Bomb, so I'm pretty much forced to go into Arcanine. And, as it turns out, he's going to Moonblast me. I'm going to go down to 20%, which is really, really bad for me, especially as I don't actually have the Morning Sun like I thought I did. Now, something very interesting happened here, and Arcanine, the Savage, is just going to straight KO this Clefable. Now, the reason this happened, it shouldn't have. The max I should have been able to do was about 78 with Will's investment. Showdown messed up his EVs, so I was able to take him out. Showdown gave him less defense EVs than he should have had, and I go down to recall right there. Basically, if his EVs hadn't been messed up, I still had a chance to win, but it was a much, much smaller chance, because Flirtless did 78, he goes down to 10%, goes back up to 16 with the leftovers, and I believe I have to get almost the very highest roll with Focus Blast to kill the Clefable from that range. So basically, if his EVs hadn't messed up, this would have been a much... It would have been much more in Will's favour, is what I'm saying. But right here, with Gardevoir versus Diggersby, I was actually, like, Googling stuff to work out who wins on a Destiny Bomb double down with the last two Mons, because I didn't want to take the 70% chance. Gardevoir outspeeds Diggersby all the time. We're going to go for a Focus Blast right here. Fortunately, we land it and take out the Diggersby. And that is going to be GG. That is going to be the game. Well played, Will. I am sorry about your EV mess up, but there's nothing I can do about it, guys. I mean, I would have liked for it to be better. I would have liked for it to be Will had the right EVs and all this kind of stuff. He checked before the battle and everything, and then they just messed up, apparently, as he challenged me. I don't know. It's a whole thing. Showdown's done. But the point is, The Hampshire Hawluchas are through. We're through to round 2 of the playoffs, the semi-finals. We are there. So that is freaking awesome. If you guys want to go and check out Will's channel, absolutely do that. Like I said, Hampshire Hawluchas, second round of the playoffs. We're there. We're going for it. That's the first defeat Will has suffered this season. And I'm sorry that it may well have happened because of Showdown messing up, dude. I apologize profusely, but there's nothing I can do about it. So, if you guys enjoyed this, please remember to drop a like down below, as always, and come back next week for round 2 of the playoffs, where I have no idea who I'll be playing, but it'll be fun, so I'll see you guys then.